Hello people of the internet, this is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. You are watching Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 The Sith Lords with the restored content modification. Previously on KotOR 2, we finished off with Telos, finally after all this time, and we met up with the Jedi Master Atris, who bitched at us for a considerable amount of time and reminded us how terrible we are as a person, before finally letting us go, and we got the Ebon Hawk back and T3 back finally. And then we also met up with a whole bunch of handmaiden sisters who beat us up because I haven't spec'd my character very well in combat. Before we finally left Telos and we got to see the Exile's trial, and we inherited a new party member, and it was one of the handmaiden sisters, who's just called handmaiden. I've rambled long enough. The reason why I'm on the main menu as opposed to the actual game is to demonstrate a little interesting piece of development that Obsidian decided with the second game, and that is the main menu will change which character's being featured depending on what stage of the game you're at. Every single person who plays this game will always have at least 3 characters show up. There is a potential 4th character as well, who could show up depending on certain factors, but I'm not going to discuss that just yet, because we may or may not get it depending on how I play. But essentially you always end up with at least 3 of the 4 characters, but the way the game works is depending on where you are and depending on what your most recent save was, the main menu will reflect where you are in the game. So I've talked for long enough, let's get to where I'm supposed to be and let's carry on. We're back in the Ebon Hawk. It's so nice to be back in here after so long. We're still in space, we're still in transit between planets, so we can't leave the Ebon Hawk at the moment, which is something I quite like about this game. It's something that the first Knights of the Old Republic game didn't do particularly well, but Obsidian tried to flesh it out a little bit more with actually having peaceful moments in the middle of space whilst you're travelling, which I think is quite nice. So let's just make sure the Ebon Hawk's in good shape, because it has been, it hasn't been with us for the past few parts, and who knows what people could have done with it during that time. Atris, I'm thinking of you specifically. It all seems to be in good order. This is about the same as when we last left it, to be honest. I am going to be talking to some party members shortly before I move on to where I want to go, but here's HK, and we do have a part to give him, so let's initialise the control cluster. And I think that's all we have. Let me just double check. Yeah, we only have that. The restored content mod has actually made it easier to fix HK, and it's actually a lot quicker to fix him this time around than it would have been in the vanilla game. At least that's based on my own experiences. Yeah, it all looks in good shape. Let's just see. Oh, this is a nice view. Space looks really nice when you're travelling, when you're not on a planet. It actually looks really nice, and it doesn't look like the mod I've installed has kicked in yet, but I'll no doubt find out when I actually land on a planet. So let's talk to Atom whilst we're here, though.
Something up?
Because we do have something to ask him, considering he supposedly knows Achani. I have some questions for you.
Alright, what did you want to know?
Care to explain where you got your Achani training?
Huh? What are you talking about?
When we entered the Telos Academy, you dropped into an Achani combat stance.
Oh, that. Don't tell anyone, but you wouldn't believe how many fights you can prevent by just pretending to know that stuff. I mean, it doesn't compare to wearing a lightsaber, but then again, that doesn't seem to help you much.
Pretty sure if you wore a lightsaber, you'd be dead. Now, I don't want to persuade him here, because I get the impression that won't be the best way to handle this. And what we know about Atten is he likes to be complimented, so I was just asking. No harm meant. I just thought it could be an asset.
Well, hey, thanks. But you've got the wrong guy. I'm good at shooting people, cracking wise, and pretending to know how to fight with my hands.
Okay. So we gained some light side points and we gained influence with Atten, which is great. But yeah, if One thing I forgot to mention last time is if you don't talk to the Handmaiden sisters before you release Atten, Kreia and Beodor from the Force cages, you miss out on that conversation entirely. So that's why I always bring it up, because it's useful to do. T3, we need to do some things with you. And let's see. Let's try and upgrade your memory core, because I've upgraded my points now. Yay, we got enough influence. Alright, let me take a look. I hope this works. Ah, we succeeded. Alright, all done. How do you feel? That last option's really harsh, so we're not going to select that. And T3's gained +1 intelligence, which is nice. What do you mean I faded out there for a second? You were shut down. I have other questions for you. I've really missed T3 these past few parts. And I think we might be pushing our luck a little bit if we try and upgrade the computer again, so let's try repair. You look like you're in need of some routine maintenance. Just sit still, this won't take long. Alright, finally finished. Took a little longer than I thought. Yeah, this game doesn't exactly demonstrate time passing very well, to be honest. But T3's gained an extra point in Constitution. And we can do this several times. I was working on you the whole time, there's nothing wrong. Never mind, I'll be going now. We might talk to T3 again later, but for now, let's move on. Talk to Kreia. I'm not going to talk to the Handmaiden just yet, because we want to imply that we don't trust her for the moment, even though I kind of said I do.
How many more do we intend to gather to us? This ship is not the galaxy. There is only so much room.
Okay, Kreia, you don't need to be a drama queen. We've got plenty of room on this ship. As many as want to come with us and help us.
Then prepare for an army, I think, for it seems many more will come in time. They will follow you because you are a leader. Their kind always needs such, even when the figure deserves no such obedience.
That sounds a bit like a commentary on politics. I'm no leader.
No? Perhaps not. Or perhaps you are different, something more. I am not blind. I see what they see, hear their voices when they speak to you, and notice the change when they speak to others.
Why are you angry?
I know many things, and I know what I am not. I am no leader. I speak with a voice that will never move others. I speak with a passion that goes unheard. They obey you because you are a leader, and perhaps something more. Have you noticed what has been happening? Have you felt it in them?
Kreia says some interesting things there, how she doesn't view herself to be a leader, but she might be lying there. No, what?
They echo you, either fighting or surrendering to their feelings, their loyalty, their duty. Your mere presence serves as an example to them of something to uphold or something to fight against. Watch them carefully, see their patterns, and recognize the strength in it. Influence can be a weapon, one that you may need before your journey is done.
In order to gain influence with Kreia, I'm going to say the slightly harsh thing. You have a point. I will reflect upon this.
Good, and then act upon it. It is a powerful tool to motivate others. That was Revan's way, I believe. It was a strength.
Yes, please tell me more about Revan. What do you mean?
A discussion, perhaps, for another time.
Oh, you just threw that out as bait. How dare you? I had other questions.
Ask, and I will answer.
Unless if your influence is down, then I won't answer. You don't seem to like the Handmaiden. Why?
There are countless reasons, and I have neither the time nor the patience to list them all.
She has offered to help us, so show her the same respect I show you.
Do you think to turn her from Atris's will? If so, I hope your arrogance will prove true in time. But I will abide her presence. She may have her uses.
Well, yeah, she's part of the party. She better have some uses. Why do you say that?
Because Atris is a threat. And as much as she would try to use us against you, so may we use her servants against her. Do not see every enemy as an enemy. See them instead as an ally, whether they realize it or not. This situation may yet work to our advantage.
I love Krea's philosophy, because sometimes I agree with it and then other times I don't. In this instance, I actually quite like what she's saying here, but in reality that's actually quite hard to do. Agreed. We need every tool we can get if Atris tries anything.
Good. That is the most to be done until events unfold, as I'm sure they will in time.
I have more questions.
Ask, and I will answer.
Did you know Atris at all?
Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be, yet I feel I know her, yes.
What do you mean?
Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness.
Oh yeah, she was awful. You walked her path?
I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall.
I can't actually remember if that line was restored content or not, but you trained Revan.
You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer.
Doesn't stop me from asking you more questions though, but I respect you, so I'm going to leave it for now. Oh, we got a net dark side shift. Where did that come from? Although I suppose it's because I did say a couple of things that were quite harsh, but I don't realise why that would be a net dark side shift. We're still pretty light-sided, so I don't know where that came from. But yeah, there we go. As I said, I am playing this game sort of off the cuff, so I could end up either way. And we'll talk to KotOR. As I've said earlier, I'm not going to talk to the handmaiden just yet. So, KotOR, how are you doing?
General, need something?
That's why I'm talking to you. Really, you don't have to call me General.
Sorry, guess I can't get my head out of the past.
I was just wondering what you've been doing since the war ended.
I moved around for a couple years. Working as a starship mechanic got me from place to place. I wasn't ready to settle down after the war.
During my exile, I did the same thing.
Bet you understand my restlessness. Though the war had ended, I couldn't find peace in anything. As long as I kept moving, I didn't have to think about what happened. Know what I mean?
Only too well.
I'm sure you do. I decided I'd do something constructive. I wanted to make up for the things I'd done in the war. I wanted to design planetary shields, but there weren't many systems with the credits to spare. There was more that needed to be rebuilt and protected. I found out that Telos was going to be the flagship project for the Republic, and it sounded like something good. I saw Telos before the Sith raised it. It deserved a better fate. But Zerka ruined everything. I thought I could force Zerka out on my own, but I guess I can't fix everything myself.
I think taking on Zerka single-handedly might be a little out of your league.
All I wanted to do was send a message, but I couldn't even do that right. That's the past, though. It's good to be working with you again, General. Something else I can help you with?
No, I think that's fine for now. Never mind. Yeah, so KotOR's a bit of an interesting one, character-wise. I didn't like him initially, as I've said in a previous part, but the more I play this game, the more I've come around sympathising with him. He's a very interesting character. But we're going to get out of space finally, because we need to actually start off Act 2 of this game, which is where the game finally picks up, because as I've said in the past, Act 1 of Knights of the Old Republic 2 doesn't exactly have the greatest pacing ever. Now, I love this game, but the first act is quite dull. And as I've explained previously, I actually don't mind Peragus that much. I actually think Peragus is well designed and its intentions are good. And if you know what you're doing, you can complete it very quickly. It's Telos I have the problems with, because Telos just feels so dragged out. If it was just one part of it, it'd be fine. But it just feels so dragged out and so monotonous. And the Telos Citadel Station and the restoration zones are incredibly guilty of this. I don't think it's as much of a problem with the polar regions, because I feel that there's enough context there to actually push the narrative forward. But I just get so bored of the Citadel Station and the restoration zones. I know I might be in the minority there, but I always feel that 2/3 of Telos is far worse than Peragus ever was. Now then, let's see what planets we've got. We've got Dantooine, we've got Korriban, so there's 2 planets from the first Knights of the Old Republic game making a return appearance here. We've also got Onderon, and we've also got Nar Shaddaa. Nar Shaddaa being well known for the Jedi Knight games, which are an amazing set of games. I might actually play them one day on this channel if I ever decide to do another Star Wars game. But we've got 4 planets, technically 5, because there is a part linked to Onderon here. Now, unlike the first Knights of the Old Republic game, which has it has a canon order, essentially. The planets in Knights of the Old Republic 1, it actually had an order of where the star maps were encountered and which order. In Knights of the Old Republic 2, it seems to be a lot more vague. There isn't really a concrete canon order for this one, and it's really up to the player's individual interpretation. I always go to Dantooine first, because I can't think of any other planet that would make sense to go to first. You could argue Nar Shaddaa because of the bounty and everything, but I always prefer Dantooine, because if your quest is looking for Jedi Masters, or your former Jedi Masters, it would make sense to go to the one place that actually has the Jedi Order, or what's left of the Jedi Order there. I don't know, that's just my personal view. I'm sure there'll be people who disagree with me, but I always go to Dantooine first. My original playthrough back in the day, when I first played this game, used to be Dantooine, Korriban, Duxon Onderon. Oh yeah, there's the spoiler, Duxon's also linked to Onderon. And finally Nar Shaddaa. I might do that order again for nostalgia's sake, but we'll see. The order I generally do nowadays is Dantooine, Nar Shaddaa, Duxon Onderon, and then Korriban. But we'll see. We're going to go to Dantooine first either way, so let's go. We've landed on Dantooine, and yeah, it's not exactly an inspiring view, but it will do. And then once we get out, I can see if the Ebon Hawk texture is working, the higher resolution texture I've installed. Because if it does, that means that Atris did at least one thing with the Ebon Hawk correctly. She actually improved it a little bit. So let's go. And from this point onwards, the game is going to get a lot more diverse with which party members you can pick from, because the first few hours of the game you're pretty much limited to just Atton and Kreia, or Atton and T3, or then Atton and Kreia again. Oh, and then you get Beodor thrown in at one point, so you get, you know, Atton and Beodor, or Kreia and Beodor. But now that we've got more party members, we can be a lot more diverse with our selections. For now, I'm just going to stick with Kreia and T3, because I believe T3 has a small moment near the beginning of this planet, and then once we've done that, I'm going to put the Handmaiden in instead. So let's go. and yes, this is the party configuration I want. It is very likely that Kreia will be with us the vast majority of the time because of various reasons that I'll explain later.
Another visitor? You must be here to join in the plunder of the old Jedi Enclave. You have to see Administrator Adari first.
What are you talking about?
You're one of the salvagers, right? Your ship looks banged up enough to be part of that lot. But you look different.
Hey, my ship's not banged up. And salvagers, I don't know what you're talking about.
Then who are you? The only recent visitors we've had on Dantooine have been salvagers, and a slew of mercenaries.
Well, I'm not going to tell her I'm a Jedi, because that's just stupid. And interesting, apparently I lived in... Well, you know, my character lived on Dantooine at one point. I want to visit the Enclave, but I'm not a salvager.
Just to see the sights, right? You're just another salvager. Go see Administrator Adari in Kunda if you want to get into the ruins.
Who is this administrator?
She was the agricultural administrator of Dantooine. After the Sith attack, she kept us together. Without her, the only thing you'd see around here are mercenaries.
Why are there so many mercenaries here?
We had problems with Mandalorian mercenaries even before the Jedi Civil War. The Jedi helped clear most of the problem up. But after the war, many soldiers from both sides of the conflict became mercenaries. And since we're so far from the core, some started gathering here.
Have the mercenaries caused any problems?
The difference between an out-of-work mercenary and a raider is a vibroblade's edge. The only thing we can prove they've done is intimidate a few farmers. The farmers give them goods, money, or food just to stay on their good side. The only one that isn't scared of them is the administrator. There have also been a lot of disappearances recently, and not all of them can be blamed on Cath hounds. But nobody can prove the mercenaries are responsible.
Who's disappeared?
A farmer here and there, or a family. We lost enough people during the war that keeping the Cath hound and Kinrath populations under control hasn't been possible. So there are a lot of animal attacks. Some deaths, too. The disappearances might be just coincidence, but a lot of the stubborn folk seem to be more accident-prone.
Where is Kunda?
Kunda is the big building just outside the landing port. It used to be the estate of a man named Matali, but he and his family disappeared around the time of the bombardment. The administrator rebuilt it, and now this is our center of government.
This is your center of government.
I know it doesn't look like much, but there aren't many settlers that live on this planet. This building is the start of something new for us. We're very proud of it.
I'd be more impressed if there weren't so many holes.
We're working on it. Is there anything else you'd want to talk about?
Yes, why do I need permission to enter the Enclave?
Have you ever sliced a Jedi security door? The old ruins are secure from salvagers unless they get permission from Adari.
Okay, fine.
Just head into the building and you'll find your way to the administrator. I'll be over by the entrance if you need anything else.
Right then, we finally got control again. So T3 needs leveling up. And what's his recommended dexterity? Let's give him intelligence so he has a few more skill points and then we can focus on everything else. Okay, good. So we now got 5 points. Excellent. And we can just keep upgrading everything. Basically, I want T3 to be very versatile. Give him a little bit of extra damage. God, I've missed having T3. He wasn't very good in the first game, but here he's actually a viable party member, as I've said before. Okay, that's T3 done. Now, I think T3's useful for this droid over here. And one thing I do want to double check. Yes, I do have Dominate Mind. Good, that's absolutely fine.
Greetings, and good day, traveler. On behalf of the Kunda settlement, I am programmed to welcome you to Dantooine.
That's very observant of you, T3. Droid, what happened to damage you?
My apologies. I have no recollection of the Sith invasion topic.
Sith invasion?
Error. Memory overflow. Resetting. May I be of any further service to you?
Droid, run a self-diagnostic and report.
Processing. Exterior damage analysis. Level 7 impairment. Multiple casing breaches detected. Bipedal servos misaligned by 32 degrees. Memory storage overflow. Memory unit is approximately 56 months overdue for maintenance.
Damn. Well, let's fix you up then.
Greetings, Jedi. Welcome back
Shh,
to Dantooine.
no, we're not a Jedi.
Hey, did that droid just call you a Jedi?
You should keep your identity secret for the time being. Try to convince this fool you are not a Jedi.
I agree with you, Kreia. No, you must be mistaken.
May I be of further service to you, Jedi?
No mistake about it. That droid is calling you a Jedi.
He's a jokester, this one, isn't he? Oh, do I want to use the Force on him just to make it a bit funnier, or shall I just, you know, do the normal persuade? Well, I don't really like the Jedi, so let's just go with the normal persuade option. The droid is obviously malfunctioning. Do I really look like a Jedi?
Well, I suppose not. Your eyes aren't glowing, and you don't have horns sticking out of your forehead. Crazy droid. Sorry for being jumpy. It's just that we hate the Jedi here.
Why do you hate the Jedi?
Why? The Jedi are the cause of everything bad that's happened here in the last 5 years.
Can you be more specific?
Oh, don't get me started. I got too much work to do to stand around and rant about the damn Jedi. If you want to hear more, just talk to anyone in Kunda Outpost.
Okay, so we gained influence with T3M4, and that's all we needed him for. So let's get rid of you and replace you with the Handmaiden,
What is it?
Yes?
who has this really cool blade. Now, I could use her as an unarmed combatant, which I am tempted to do because I don't normally do that, but I already have KotOR handling that, so who knows. What do you do? Okay. What are you doing on Dantooine? I'm pretty sure the planet's already pretty screwed, to be honest. How can it be corrected? Oh, not the Kinrath again. I thought this was resolved after the first game. It was all Jahani's fault. What's so unusual about the Kinrath's behaviour? And why are you anxious to leave Dantooine? I'm not interested right now, maybe later. Okay, so he doesn't really contribute much apart from Bazak. Let's have a quick look around and see what else there is. But yeah, as I was saying earlier whilst I'm running around getting stuff, one of the reasons why it's good to take KotOR with you on most places is because you get double the experience points because she's a bit broken like that. And you also, actually, let's kick the Handmaiden out of the party for a second. KotOR, I think you have the best demolitions. Do you have the best demolitions? I can't remember. Yep, that seems pretty good. Okay. Oh, and that's one thing I need to do. I need to change the difficulty. Oh no, good. It's already on difficult. I clearly forgot I did that earlier. Haha. Fine. Let's just open this up and see if that works.
Set and activated.
Did that work? I don't think it did. That's a shame.
What's going on?
Let's try a stronger one. Let's try an average one.
Set and activated.
If this doesn't work, oh, for God's sake. Let's try lowering the difficulty just for this one thing.
Set.
Because I'm pretty sure you can, you know, open this. There we go. See, you have to lower the difficulty just for some stupid stuff like this. Ooh, those are good gloves. What do they do? I can't remember. Ah, okay, that'll be good for Atton, actually. You know what? I'm going to just quickly kick KotOR out, get Atton in, and then give Atton these gloves before I forget. Yeah, there you go, Atton. Have fun with those. I didn't even realise that was an item, to be honest. Right, okay, back to the Handmaiden. I'm not going to level her up just yet, but Yeah, as I was saying earlier, with Kreia, you want to take her everywhere because she's a bit broken in the sense that she gives you double the amount of experience points per battle and per whatever. And she also has the most engagement with the overall plot because Obsidian focused a lot of their efforts on Kreia. Chris Avalon, or Avalone, I forgot how you pronounce his surname, but he in particular focused extensively on Kreia during this game's writing process. And it really shows in the writing and also how Kreia responds to a lot of the plot. In many ways, she is the main character of this game, not the Exile. But moving on, we've got Dantooine. I haven't actually installed any mods for Dantooine at the moment because we'll be coming back here multiple times, and I want to show Dantooine changing over time, if that makes sense. So whilst I do have a mod that's in the video description, it's been in the description ever since the start of this series, I'm not installing it or adding it on until much later on in the game. So for now, this is just vanilla Dantooine as it would have appeared in 2004 and 2005. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go to Kunda, which is right here. Dylan is the woman we spoke to when we left the Ebon Hawk. Thankfully we're not getting charged for parking here like we would have done in the first game with most of the planets, but let's go inside Kunda and see what's going on.
Do you actually believe a Jedi would return here? After all they've done to us? They wouldn't dare.
They certainly would. You remember how they were. Always so superior, so arrogant, and never lending a hand when we really needed them.
I still don't believe it.
You should. My cousin's friend, he used to tend the gardens around the Enclave. He swears he saw a Jedi in Kunda. Could be hiding anywhere.
Well, I hope it's true. I hear there's a bounty on them, and we could certainly use the money.
Unless somebody beats you to it.
I love the callbacks to the first Knights of the Old Republic on this planet, by the way. So, receptionist, what do you have to say?
Welcome to Kunda. You're a salvager, right? You'll need to see Administrator Adare to get access to the ruins. If you need directions to anything else, just ask.
I've heard your voice before, haven't I? Where's the Administrator?
Her office is directly behind this room. You really can't miss it. She can see you now if you like.
Why does everyone think I'm a salvager?
You're not. The only heavily armed people that visit us are either salvagers or mercenaries. And you don't look quite gritty enough to be a mercenary.
What do you have in Kunda?
The things that would most interest you are our weapon merchant Anzeron, the leader of our militia. Akere is still around here somewhere too. He sells droid components.
Where can I find the weapon shop?
Just go to the central corridor and make a right. His shop is the first on the right.
And why would I need to see Zoan?
If you get into any trouble, he's the person you'd contact. Unfortunately, recent problems with the salvagers and mercenaries have kept him quite busy.
Recent problems? Like what?
The mercenaries cause disruptions for some of our outlying settlers. They are a constant source of friction for us. I hear the salvagers are having some internal problems too.
Can you go into more detail?
No, I couldn't. If you're really interested in that, just speak to Zeron.
Okay, so I have to go. If this is the person I'm thinking of, and I think it is, it's Jamie Glover, or Glover, and he's the son of Julian Glover, who has been in many films over the years, and you know, Jamie Glover's got a very distinctive voice, and he's been on a lot of British TV and various other things, but I didn't realise until a few months ago that he actually did a lot of voice work in Knights of the Old Republic too. And I get the impression, I think I know which characters he's voiced, but I haven't actually looked into it too deeply, but I can suspect who he has actually voiced, and I think he's done quite a few characters in this game. Who are you, strange man?
Your luck is not of the hapless settler. You are the newcomer that lands in a battered ship, yes? No friendly greetings are here for you.
My ship isn't battered.
You act like I have insulted your woman. Your ship I haven't seen. But if it takes after you, it can't be in perfect condition. I am done being inconvenienced by you.
I take it back. I don't mind Atris now. At least Atris wanted to talk to me. You, sir, are an absolute dick. Moving on. Let's see what else this place has to offer. Oh, and he'll probably show up again later, I imagine. He looks like the kind of person you don't want to mess with. And yeah, this looks like the Metalli estate, alright, from the first Knights of the Old Republic game. Or was it the Sandral estate revisited in the first Knights of the Old Republic? I can't remember. Either way, the buildings look the same, so Handmaiden, you're getting stuck on the environment, don't do that. So we need to see this administrator person, and we're going to do that here, because this is where she lives. So let's talk to her, and you can tell she's important because she has a unique character model.
A visitor. Please, come in. Welcome to Kunda. I am Administrator Turina Adari. You're the owner of the, ship that just landed?
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Joan.
Depending on your business here, the pleasure may be mutual, but you didn't answer my question. Is that ship yours?
Just noticed there's a typo in her speech there. See if you can notice it. That ship is one of the fastest in the galaxy.
I meant no disrespect at all. It is in fact a remarkable vessel. And unless I'm much mistaken, that's the Ebon Hawk. That vessel has been on Dantooine before, during the war. That was a Jedi vessel.
Yeah, I think it may have belonged to Revan. I mean, I think. I could be completely wrong, but I'd prefer it if you keep that quiet. Jedi don't seem to be liked here, or practically anywhere these days.
That is an unfortunate truth, and a wise request, which of course I will honor. Most settlers here hold bitter memories of the Sith occupation. Right or wrong, our settlers blame the Jedi and their hidden enclave for their suffering. I remember the old Jedi Masters and the considerable help they lent to Dantooine. I still maintain discreet connections with Jedi. I suppose your arrival here is no coincidence.
What do you mean by that?
My friend, let's just call him Vrook. We've known each other for many years, and our continued friendship could create many problems in the current political climate. He came to Dantooine not too long ago. He was looking into something quite important. He's gone missing recently. Did he send for you in case something went wrong?
I can't imagine Vrook travelling the galaxy. He's probably been on Dantooine for the past 5 years, since the end of the first game. And yeah, let's be a little bit ominous about this. He sent for me. He said you'd fill me in on the situation when I arrived.
We need the skills of a Jedi more than ever. He was helping investigate Azkul and his mercenaries, but he had his own errand to run in the Enclave. Jedi business of some sort. He went into the sub-level, which isn't without its dangers, and he hasn't returned.
Go on.
I'm starting to fear the worst. Would you be willing to go to the ruins of the Enclave to look for him?
I actually came here to search the Enclave ruins anyway, and I could use some supplies to ward off the dangers of the ruins. All credits.
From what I know of your type, you have all of the equipment you need to deal with the sub-level. I do realize the Jedi Order disbanded, so you must find credits yourself, however. The sub-level is dangerous enough that the salvagers have not managed to properly search it. There are many artifacts of value. Normally, I ask for a percentage of all salvage. In your case, however, you can take whatever you find without the customary tithe. I will have one of the militia transmit permissions to the Enclave's security door. Go expecting danger, for you will most certainly find it there. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
What was Master Vrook doing for you?
He was investigating the mercenaries for us. We've been increasingly concerned about them. Their behavior has always been antagonistic, but recently they've been behaving differently. Vrook was investigating this when he disappeared. We were counting on any hard intelligence he could provide. Our other assets have been unavailable recently. If you find any information on the mercenaries during your stay on our planet, please report it to Zeron or myself.
Can you tell me anything more?
I believe I've told you everything I can. Please find and rescue Vrook.
Is there any work I can do here?
There are plenty of opportunities to assist people on Dantooine. Too many, I'm afraid. I would go to the militia headquarters and make your intentions known there. Besides that, just listen and ask around.
Do the people of Dantooine really hate the Jedi?
To most people in the galaxy, the distinction between Sith and Jedi is a blurry one, especially since most Sith were once Jedi. It is complicated by the fact that Malak and Revan were great heroes of the Republic and famed Jedi Knights. But a few years later, they were leading an armada which threatened everyone. And here on Dantooine, the Jedi Enclave provoked a brutal occupation by the Sith. It could have been far worse, but even now the damage has not been fully mended.
Can anything be done about it?
I don't think everyone hates Jedi. If just a few people changed their minds or spoke up, it could make a great deal of difference. I think that we need the help of the Jedi. If the Jedi's reputation isn't redeemed, the consequences could be quite regrettable. Until then, I would keep your identity secret.
That's not a problem, because I don't believe that I'm a Jedi. And, what can you tell me about the people of Dantooine?
Who do you want to know about? There are 3 groups of people on the planet right now. The settlers, salvagers, and the mercenaries.
I think one of your staff is getting really bored in the background, Administrator. I think you need to, tell him his shift is finished. I'd like to know about the settlers.
Dantooine is one of the younger worlds of the Republic. A couple of generations ago, this world was still untamed. We made great progress, in no small part due to the Jedi. But recently, we have been losing ground. During the war, the most prominent settler families either fled or were executed by the Sith. Losing their resources and the Jedi was too great a loss. But now we are organizing and starting to truly work together. Once we achieve that, I am confident that Dantooine can be safe and prosperous again.
You don't seem convinced by that.
No, I suppose I'm not. We need the Republic and always have. We aren't self-sufficient yet and we need aid. The fate of the Telos project is intimately tied to our own. The most humanitarian elements of the Senate have put their careers at stake in the rebuilding of Telos. If those efforts succeed, their prominence will grow and further aid will be given freely. But if they fail, there are colder, more authoritative elements in the Senate that could come to power. They would think nothing of leaving the strategically unimportant worlds to their own devices. That would be a tragic day for Dantooine and many other worlds. The Republic is in flux. Its final shape is uncertain.
I apologise that this is another talkative part, but I actually forgot about this dialogue here, to be honest, so that's why I'm intrigued. What about the mercenaries?
Mercenaries have been a problem for Dantooine since the end of the Mandalorian Wars. When the Jedi Enclave was here, they were firmly kept in check. But now, relations are uneasy between us. Their leader, Azkul, was a Sith trooper during the war, and I have no doubt he was very good at his job. Until they find work, tensions will grow. If you want to know more, I suggest you talk with Barun in the militia headquarters. He would have more details.
What are salvagers doing on Dantooine?
They are a necessary inconvenience. Money has been a great concern to us, ever since the Sandrals and Matalays were removed during the Jedi Civil War. The agricultural exports we produce just cover basic maintenance. To expand and prosper, we needed credits. So we had to exploit a valuable resource we had, the ruins of the Jedi Enclave. It was not a decision lightly made, and even then we couldn't do the work ourselves. Too dangerous, and every settler matters on our small world. So we opened the door to enterprising salvagers. The salvagers you see now are the last remnants of that force. The tithe we took from their claims sustains what semblance of government you see now.
That's really tragic. What are you going to do when the ruins are empty?
We plan on using those credits to improve production and protect our world. We have enough to sustain ourselves until more prosperous times.
And you coexist happily with them?
We tolerate their presence because we must, and they generally follow our laws. But their time is almost over. The Jedi Enclave's sublevel is the only place left with reasonable salvage, and it has too many dangers for them. The salvagers aren't warriors. Generally, they are out-of-work miners or cast-offs from other worlds.
Can we talk about something else?
Certainly.
I'll be going now. Right, so we've got a lot of background lore there, so we can go with that. Let's just talk to 2 more people and then we'll finish the part here, because I suspect that I don't want to get too much into the gameplay until next time, so let's talk to you.
What brings you to Kunda? Do you have any troubles to report? I'm here to help. I just hope you aren't here about Garavek.
Oh yeah, he was an absolute knobhead. I've had no problems the militia needs to worry about.
You haven't? Well, that's something. I'm the second in command over here, and we keep getting incidents. Our staff is stretched thin. Too thin. If you do have trouble, I'm not the one to talk to. You need to talk to Zeron. He takes a hands-on role as the militia captain.
I don't know, you sound quite enthusiastic. And isn't being hands-on a good thing?
This is sensitive. It's not really a secret, though. A lot of people are upset with Zeron. He's a hard man and doesn't answer to anybody. Except, I suppose, the administrator. The thing is, he expects everyone to follow all the laws. That's not normally a bad thing, but the mercenaries are used to having a bit more freedom. So it's like Zeron keeps prodding a rancor with a stun stick. To a rancor, it's just a minor nuisance. But if you keep at it, he's gonna fight back. The mercenaries aren't unreasonable. They're mostly just war veterans looking for work. But Zeron just keeps poking them. So he has to get involved to make sure that the militia does what he wants. Otherwise, we'd probably give the mercenaries some room.
With some people, if you give them a little room, they'll take a lot more.
Dantooine has had mercenaries on it for years. I talked with some, and they're not unreasonable. There's gotta be some sort of compromise we can both live with.
You can't bargain with a rancor.
Using my own analogy against me? The mercenaries aren't rancors. They're people, like you and me. But if you keep provoking them, it's just dangerous. I think we should be working on getting along. It's hard to follow orders that have you make things worse.
That attitude is dangerous. When you're outnumbered on a hostile world, you've got to stay a team.
That's a good way of looking at it. I may not agree with the captain, but I guess I should make everyone fall in line. I still worry that he may provoke the mercenaries into something more dangerous. But I suppose he may know something I don't. Thanks.
Seems like Dantooine has had a lot of trouble.
I don't even want to get into it. Ask around if you want to know the details. It'll just make my headache worse if I talk about it. I don't know what we'd do without Administrator Adare. She managed to plow through a lot of the family bickering once the Sith left during the war. She's kept us together. Oh, and Zeron too, I suppose.
Sounds like you don't approve of Zeron. I might cause some trouble of my own, actually.
I see. Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to go over the militia rules then. Kunda and the Salvager camp are under militia protection, so a friendly scuffle is all right. But if any blasters are drawn, there'll be hell to pay. But if you buy some Jedi trinket and you're not satisfied, you're on your own. I'd stay away from the mercenary camp. We've had difficulties with them. We don't patrol or investigate there anymore. A trip there and you're on your own. Follow the rules and we don't have any problems. Oh, and Pato Ado doesn't cheat as far as we can figure. So don't complain about the Ithorian either.
Yeah, well, Ithorians are really nice based on what I've experienced. A little bit odd maybe, but they're quite nice. I've got a few questions about the other people here in the settlement.
I'll tell you anything that's public knowledge. Most militia news passes by me and Zeron. I might be able to help.
I've heard rumours there's a Jedi around here.
I've heard that rumor too. People get really riled up about Jedi around here. Some people seem to have a selective memory. During the war, the Jedi were a big help here. They did everything for us, from clearing out dangerous beasts to solving a murder investigation. I try to stay out of it though. Standing up for Jedi is one way to become unpopular around here.
I love how all that stuff he just mentioned was stuff that we did as Revan in the first Knights of the Old Republic game. So basically Revan did all the work, the Jedi did nothing. And do you know if the rumour is true?
Maybe. Although I don't know why a Jedi would come back here. The only reason why people ever came here before was the Enclave. And with that gone...
The Jedi are a blight. Their time is over.
I've heard all that before. I don't agree with you. But there are plenty of people who would. Talking about Jedi is just depressing these days. Any other cheerful problems you want to talk about?
No, I'll be going now.
All right. Stay out of trouble now.
Wanted to get some anti-Jedi dialogue in there, though, because I haven't been too bitter for a while with this character. Oh, Adam Larp, I forgot about you. You were fantastic in the first game. I always had a headcanon theory that if Knights of the Old Republic 3 had happened, Adam Larp would have become a party member. Selling arms, right? Let's see what you're selling. Trandoshan sword is actually really good. I do remember that weapon. That's quite good as well, but it's expensive and I don't think I can wear it. Got a lightsaber crystal, we got a gun. That might be quite good for us actually. This also might be quite good. There's basically he's actually got quite a lot of good stuff. And that's also good. That might be good for Bayador, the Handmaiden, but it costs a lot of money, so we're going to leave for now. We'll talk to Adam Larp later. There's just one more person I want to talk to, and then we'll leave it there. Oh yeah, the private doors we can't go in whatsoever. Ah, Zeon, hello.
I'm the militia captain here. Are you here because you're in trouble or looking for it?
You sound like the kind of person who smokes a lot of cigarettes a day. I prefer to call it a challenge, not trouble.
There is often opportunity in challenges, if you know how to look for it. I might have something for you. But first, you got any other reason for coming to militia headquarters?
Just exploring and getting to know people.
There are better places to explore and better people to know. I'm sure you have your reasons, though. I'm sure you got questions of your own. And if you're interested, I might have some work for you. You want something?
What's Jerevik's connection to the militia?
Some of the salvagers went deep into the ruins and found a lot of Jedi relics. It's the most valuable haul the salvagers ever got. But all the salvagers that went down there are dead. So it seems every day or so some salvager comes claiming they're owed by such and such, or that they're related. The whole thing makes me sick. Garevik says he won the whole claim in a Pazak game with the last survivor, right before he killed him. But that was a fair fight. There were witnesses. But nobody remembers Garevik ever playing Pazak. I just hope someone takes this blasted claim off my hands. I'm tired of those lowlives pestering me. We've got real work to do. You want something?
What sort of work do you have?
I've seen a lot of visitors come through Kunda. You're the first one in a while that looks the capable sort. We have a small problem with Kinrath. Maybe you've already seen some of them. They're coming from a cave in the Kunda Plains. I'd take care of it myself, but there aren't many people in the militia. We'd lose too many men. There's a reward if you do it.
Why is this place so overrun with Kinrath?
Kinrath are normally just pests. We think something happened to their nest. Started near the end of the Civil War. Nobody knows for sure. Even the Ithorian. And they're smart about such things.
Well, we know why. It's because of Juhani. How dangerous is it?
Very. The Kinrath you see on the plains aren't as tough as the ones inside the caves. They may not look much different, but they are tough.
How much is the reward?
2,000 credits.
Ooh. That's actually really tempting. Oh, we're not going to be noble about that. Oh, I want 2,000 credits. What do you know about the cave?
We used some explosives to seal the cave a couple years back. Just made them angrier. They burrowed another entrance even closer to us. I know there are crystals in there too. Some of the salvagers once thought about going in there to get some extra credits. Too many Kinrath, though. Cave is on the southeast side of the plains. Shouldn't be hard to find.
I'll see what I can do.
That's all I can ask. You want something?
Can I ask you some general questions?
You really should talk to Barun about general questions.
Yeah, well, I've already talked to him. How is the militia doing?
There aren't more than a dozen of us, and there's too many problems. People keep hoping that the Republic sends help, but we gotta help ourselves.
What do you know about the Administrator?
She's smart. She gets things done. The whole place would fall apart without her. Dantooine isn't the center of much anything. Our most talented people sometimes leave. Hard for someone to stay a farmer when they have the itch to do something greater. So we're lucky the Administrator never went elsewhere. I bet she'd make a decent senator, even.
This guy's voice really sounds painful. I don't know if it's just me, but that amount of pressure on your throat must kill. What can you tell me about Kunda?
It's our home. Might be the start of an honest capital someday. Right now, it's not much more than a swoop bike stop.
How do you feel about the mercenaries?
I don't have anything to say about that.
Typical response. Fine, I'll be going. Right, so that's all of the main characters here talked to. And we'll be seeing much more of them later on. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it there, because we've had another dialogue heavy part. Oh, there is another person to talk to, isn't there? Hold on.
A lot of people here hate Jedi, but when they were here, they tried helping us. I don't blame them.
Okay, this is the guy then.
Are you waiting for the Administrator too? You won't have to wait too long. But if you want results, now that you may never get here.
Why not?
Kunda's like a droid without his power cell. Useless. We have problems all over, and the most you can get out of the Administrator is a pat in the back.
I'm sick of all their excuses and empty words. I need justice now.
I fought in the war, and I know how to use my blaster rifle. If the Administrator or Zeron doesn't do something, then I will.
What exactly is your problem?
Salvagers are the problem. They strip bare the ruins that belong to the people of Dantooine. Then they sell what they find back to us at inflated prices.
I'm not a violent man. I've had my share of it in the war. I sincerely hoped I could just hang my blaster rifle on the wall as a souvenir for my grandchildren.
But I can't farm without my equipment.
How was he planning to tell that story to his grandchildren? Hey kids, I shot a guy with this and I killed him. Whatever. The salvagers stole your equipment.
Well, yes and no. I brought my moisture vaporator to Kunda to be serviced. On the way back to my farm, I took a shortcut next to the Enclave ruins. Damn Lagrix came out of nowhere. I had to run before they made a meal of me. When I returned to retrieve my equipment, the salvagers had already stripped it bare.
Are you sure it's a salvager?
My farm is the closest to the Enclave ruins. It has to be someone nearby, and if the mercenaries wanted it, they'd just take it in broad daylight. The closest place besides that is the salvager camp, so it has to be them. You ever met one of them? Thievery wouldn't be too far a stretch for any of them. The other day I had to take a shot at one of them. Soon someone is going to get killed, and Dantooine has enough trouble without that.
What did they steal?
A lot of farming equipment. It's not even valuable, just important for the moisture vaporators and hydroprocessors. The thief must be desperate for credits.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I suppose you could. Actually, you almost look like a salvager.
If you could go to this salvager camp and convince the salvager Joran to return my modulator, I would be very grateful.
I'm not rich, but I have some souvenirs from the war I could give you.
Oh, so we share the same name. That's pretty cool. Where's the salvager camp?
It's right next to the ruins of the Jedi Enclave. Just follow the smell. You can't miss them.
I'll see what I can do.
That's great. I'm certainly not getting any help around here. If you need to know anything more, just ask me.
Right then, so we've got another side quest there. Now let's leave this place and we'll finish it as I said I was going to do. Because I don't think these two have anything to say.
The salvagers keep coming here and bothering the militia. That Garevik is the worst of them.
I agree.
If it weren't for the Jedi, we'd be a prosperous community. They brought us nothing but trouble.
I'm going to leave it there for now because we've had another talkative part, and next time we're going to focus more on the gameplay when we go to the Jedi Enclave and see how it's holding up after 5 years since the first Knights of the Old Republic game. But thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.